started in '51, the Ingleton Fell Rescue Team, and they decided that we'd build a crosswall shelter on Ingleborough. It's surprising. Quite a lot of people in Ingleton would say they've never been up Ingleborough. I think people appreciate a shelter in a pretty hostile environment like that.
I work for the Yorkshire Dales National Park Authority. We're a unique type of local government that works within the national park to preserve. Our first purpose is conservation and preservation of the special qualities of the national park, and the second purpose, which the Ranger Service fits in, is for people to enjoy those special qualities. So this project is the Ingleborough Summit Shelter and Toposcope project, funded by the Stories in Stone through the Yorkshire Dales Millennium Trust. And the project basically, we identified that the crosswall shelter, summit shelter on the summit of Ingleborough was in need of repair.
The shelter was originally built in the early 50s to commemorate the Queen's coronation, and it was local people, the Cave Rescue Organisation, I don't think it was called that then, but anyway, that's what it is. They involved local people in building a shelter up there. I mean, access is just crazy, you know, it's ridiculously exposed. And it's a really nice shelter, you know. It's a very exposed place up there on the top of Ingleborough. The views are fantastic. It's a kind of a cross shape shelter pointing to the 4 directions of the compass. So you've got shelter on one side, you know, all year round, hopefully. It's lasted pretty well considering where it is, 70 years of, you know, exposure. The main funder is the National Lottery Heritage Fund. We're using local contractors, of course, wherever possible. So it's a great idea.
A project like this, it's a very remote location. Getting materials to site was tricky. So, you know, we were lucky in this day and age that in the national park we do a lot of work on the rights of way and with helicopter airlifts. So that is something that we could employ that they didn't have in the 1950s. You know, otherwise it wouldn't have really been possible for us because of the damage caused to the fells and the tracks going up.
I think we have such a rich history in this country that things like the cross shelter and things like these have been around for a long time. It's important to keep them there, and you know, everyone involved in the project, we're just sort of keeping it as it should be for the next generations, and hopefully, you know, I don't know when it may need some repairs in the future, hopefully a long time. But you know, we're just doing our bit, and then maybe in 100 years or something, hopefully that gets, you know, the upkeep of it is taken up by someone else, because I think it is really important to keep these things there. They mean a lot to a lot of people.
It's my one home comfort. I got worried in case I'd left it somewhere.
The most obvious challenge was always going to be the weather, and were we going to be lucky or not? So, and it was a mix, but on the whole, we got away with it. And there was wind and snow and rain, and we had a bit of a problem with things freezing up at times. But on the whole, we sort of managed to get through, and there was some pretty nice days too.
No more chisels. Yeah, Miles.
My name is Bill Hind. I worked on the building of the original shelter in 1952. I was 17 or 18 years of age at the time, and it was one of the more interesting experiences. Getting materials to the summit was the big challenge. The big problem was getting tractors onto the summit. There's a raking track goes onto the summit plateau. It was very busy just after the war. All the local Dales farmers were getting their first tractors, so and God, it was a dangerous palaver. Eric Middleton and Harry Schofield had a special technique of jumping off. If the tractor went down the hill, they had an escape mechanism. Fortunately, they never had to use it, of course. But it was all very entertaining.
When we started the project, the world was changing around us. as you're aware, 2020 will be forever remembered as the year of COVID-19 and everything else. So there was concerns whether we'd be able to get this project completed. And basically, Laurie Lambeth, we had a really good working relationship. We helped him with certain aspects, with setting in the flagstones, for example. And basically, everything came together and it was completed on time. To see that, all the work that had gone into that moment of putting the plan together, the grant application, putting out to tender, the helicopter airlift. Now the Toposcope is finally in, the final piece. All the information, it took a lot of research, luckily with Bill Hind, had the original drawings, because the original plaque was actually quite damaged and it was hard to see some of the information on that plaque. And I think the structure looks brilliant, especially with the new stone flags that's set in the bottom. Laurie Lambeth's done a fantastic job of repairing it, and really hope that future generations enjoy the shelter, especially when it's bleak weather at the top of Ingleborough.
Part of my appeal to it is that you're building things that are going to be around a lot longer than you are. So yeah, that's always nice to know, especially with a project like this one, where it's in an iconic location, and a lot of people see it each year and hike up the hill to get the views and to then have a bit of your work up there. It feels nice, and it'll be there long after I'm not here.